government and the MOD just love wasting taxpayers' money and then coming back for more. So the budget was last month, sorry, and they announced there will be a freeze on income tax threshold. So essentially, if you get a pay rise and you go over these thresholds, you're just going to pay more tax and you're going to have less money instead of actually seeing more from your pay rise. And what they've gone and done as well is they've wasted £6 billion on a 20-year project for the British Army. So I left the Army in 2022 after finishing off in the Household Cavalry Regiment. I was in the Royal Artillery before that, and in 2017 I transferred to the Household Cavalry Regiment. And when I transferred, they went, we're going to move you out of Combatready Barracks, we're going to go down to Bulford because we've got this new amazing military armoured vehicle coming in. The regiment and the battle group will be changing basically how they operate on the battlefield. We will no longer be recce by stealth. We're basically recce by force. We'll have a much larger vehicle with a better weapon system. It'd be the most basically advanced medium armoured fighting vehicle in the world. It's instead of going for something off the shelf that was already good, we're developing our own. And back then it was already about 12 to 15, maybe a little bit more. No, yeah, it would have been around 12 years in development most probably. And they were like, yeah, we're going to get some vehicles. And as soon as we get to Bulford, we're going to have a squadron's worth of vehicles. We get to Bulford, we have no vehicle. And then we get a few vehicles. And then by the time I left, I still don't, if I remember rightly, they still didn't have a squadron's worth of vehicles. And guess what? When I left in 2022, there was noise and vibration issue. People were being sent off for specialist tests to have their hearing tested. And they were having issues with vibration and hearing. Now it's 2025, pretty much 2026. And guess what? The same issues, but this time it's now all over the media because there's talks of them maybe having to scrap it. And you know how I know they're wasting money? Because for serving so long in the military, instead of picking the correct equipment for the job, instead of going around to all the units and saying, you know, I'll give you an example, and trust me, please follow the video because you'll understand how they waste your money. So instead of going around and saying, right, let's see what people use, right? They wanted to bring in a new webbing, Bergen and helmet system. When I joined the army, you had, you know, the big old Bergens, and you use them during training. And then when you get to units, especially sort of more specialist units, airborne commando and some other units, and then it carried on throughout my career, it got a lot more popular. People were tailoring their kit to fit the job because the Bergens you had weren't really suitable. So you had one pouch on the front and one pouch in the lid, and then basically you would put 3 or 4 pouches on the front, so you'd have 3 sort of utility pouches, and then above that a poncho pouch. You would maybe add a bit of extra padding to the back, and then some, you know, you'd add extra clips onto the male and female clips to make them a little bit bigger, so when you're going out on recce's or you're carrying chicken wire and all sorts, the buckles were basically better, stronger and larger. You could extend the top pouch as well so you could fit more in, because basically you have to carry a lot of kit. So instead of going around and basically seeing what everyone done, they brought in Virtus 1. The first drop, absolutely crap, gave it to loads of infantry units. They said it's crap, they brought in Virtus 2. Body armour was crap, Bergen was crap, webbing was crap. Virtus drop 3, and I think they finally settled on Virtus drop 3. Absolute crap again. No one wanted to use it. RSMs were basically saying you will use it, otherwise you'll get ag-eyed. From when I left, if I remember rightly, people were still using their own webbing systems that they had set up. They were using their own Bergens that they set up. They had to use the plate carrying helmets. You couldn't get away with that. But once again, they were tailoring that, adding pouches, etc., because it was crap. Now bring in the new Ajax. £6 billion, I think, spent so far. I think it's a £15 billion project over the whole time, if I remember rightly. And I remember hearing stories when it was coming in, because the Household Cavalry Regiment's the first unit to and then I left just as they were properly training and receiving on them. So I never actually worked on it. But there was vibration and noise issues back in 2021. I know for a fact they're just trying to make money out of you, and people doing backhanders high up in, you know, MOD and, you know, in the government, because they get, you know, they all know, they're all friends within these. There were stories of they were going around to look around a vehicle to see what would work, how it fit, how you'd pack it, and the camnet box they opened up, And they went, that's not big enough for a cam net. And they went, yeah, it is, here you go. They put an air sealed cam net in it. Anyone that knows it's anything air sealed, you seal it and then you suck all the air out of it and it makes it small so you can fit it into tight spaces. Anyone that's been in the military will know that when you go out on the ground, everything gets wet and dirty and it expands and it becomes extremely hard to fold up. That's not going to fit into a box. They've done it on purpose, basically. So what they're doing, there's loads of issues with it. So that's why there's been like 5 drops before it's operational. Yeah, drop 1, drop 2, drop 3, drop 4, drop 5. Drop 5's the operational ready drop. And the reason they do that is because they make a vehicle and they know there's issues with it. So when they give it the first drop to you, and they did it with Vertis, they give you the first drop and they go, yeah, that's wrong, that don't work, that don't work. Oh, right, yeah, we'll go back. So it's now going to cost you even more money to do this because we've got to change this, we've got to repair this, we've got to fix. That's all it is. It's a money-making machine. And that's how they waste your money. But it's all backhanders from people high up who know people in General Dynamics and wherever else. They go, yep, he's my mate. I know he'll do good. I'll ask him away. He can win this tender. But they're wasting your money. They did it throughout my whole career. Instead of going around to soldiers and going, right, we are going to design a vehicle. What do you need? We're going to start from scratch. Yeah, you have the trials unit who trial kit and equipment, but go around to actual units and build the specifications of what units actually use. Because there's a cost of living, we go on about it all the time, there's a cost of living crisis. People are struggling. They're talking about black holes. They're talking about we need to raise this money. We need to stop spending. We need to, take away from the defence budget. No, increase the defence budget and stop wasting money. You'd have a much better armed forces with much better equipment. Generally, from the videos you'll see in this, the clips you'll see in this video, they need to scrap the Ajax, scrap General Dynamics, because they've wasted so much money, and just go for an off-the-shelf vehicle and adapt it to British needs, British soldier needs. Because in this current climate, we cannot continue to waste money. We need to start putting money back into our economy, into our NHS, the public services and our armed forces, but on things that we actually need and use and things that actually work. Why should people continually have to pay more taxes, have less money to spend on their families, right? We should be able to enjoy life. You get one life. Why should you have to work hard and struggle to live? Because the government and other people want to waste your money continually because they want to pocket money from. Let's put it out there that Ajax project, bearing in mind this Ajax, okay, is what's replaced the CVRT variant. Ajax project needs to be scrapped. Needs to be scrapped. This has been going on for around 20 years now. Back in 2017, they were meant to get the first drops. It's now 2025, nearly 2026, and it is not ready. It is not ready. So scrap the project and let's start doing this smartly and correctly and stop wasting taxpayers' money. It needs to happen ASAP. We cannot continue like this. But thanks for watching. Let us know what your thoughts are.